Let's be honest, ClickUp is so packed with features, it can be overwhelming sometimes. If you've ever opened it and felt totally confused, you're not alone. Endless options, 15 different ways to view different things, and a task list that just gets longer and muddier. Many teams find themselves right there in the beginning. They're in pure chaos. There's a better way. Mastering just 3 of ClickUp's core features can simplify everything for you. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what they are and how to implement them today. Think of this digital hierarchy as your filing cabinet for your entire company. Now, you wouldn't just throw every document you have into a drawer, right? You'd use folders, dividers to keep things organized. The ClickUp hierarchy is exactly that, but for your work. It's a simple cascading structure. The workspace is your whole company. Inside that are spaces. Inside spaces are the folders. And inside folders are the lists. And finally, inside your lists are your tasks. Now, here's how to use it to bring order to the chaos. Okay, so your workspace up here in the left. So we talked about thinking like that is our whole entire company. Then we come down to our spaces here, and that's where we break it down by department. So marketing, engineering, operations. You could have product development, or depending on your company, maybe there's another larger department. So this will immediately separate your work into these high-level areas. So you're not getting the marketing team isn't getting bogged down with engineering notifications. But the key here is to keep these limited. You don't want to go crazy on spaces. Think big functional areas. Now, within the spaces are our folders. I think of these as like big multi-stage projects that you're working on. So for marketing here, I have an example of Q4 content strategy. If we wanted to create another one, we can just come to the plus button here and create a folder. And maybe we want one that is new website launch. I could add a bit of a description and then hit create. And now we have a new folder under our marketing space. So the folders act as containers for all the different work streams related to this one initiative. And it lets you group related projects together. So everything for that website launch lives in one easy to find place. Now inside folders, we have lists. Lists are the powerhouse of ClickUp. This is where all the action happens. Now, a list is a specific project with a clear deliverable. So in our new website launch, we may have a list that we will rename to something specific, right? So like homepage design. Maybe we want another list under our website launch. We'll hit the plus, new list, and maybe we want another one for SEO optimization. Again, these are clear deliverables. So you're going to see little pop-ups like this along the way. The ClickUp AI is actually very smart. And so it's going to give you settings like, hey, do you want me to create these default tasks and maybe some default views for you, and even put in like the different statuses that relate to SEO optimization. So if you're like putting something in that the AI recognizes, you'll get these nice suggestions. So finally, within our lists, we have tasks, subtasks, and checklists. Okay, so here's the golden rule. A task is a single task with a clear outcome. So for example, design the homepage mockup. Okay, it's a single task. It has a clear outcome. At the end of this task, I'm going to have a homepage mockup. Now, a subtask may be the steps needed to get there. Okay, so once I have the task, I can click into it, and now I can create a subtask. So something like create wireframe. You can just hit enter, and it'll create a new one for you. Source, brand, assets, and maybe a first pass design. Now, obviously, within each of these tasks, we can go ahead and assign these tasks to people. If we're just in the planning phase like we are, we're not going to do that quite yet. But you can see we have different ways that we can set these tasks, and then we can go ahead and set a due date if we want to right here. So then within a subtask, we might want a checklist, okay? Within the first pass design, we may want a checklist of things that we want that designer to check for, right? So maybe we have like some standard operating procedures that we want to put in here. There's, if there's certain brand things that you need to make sure got done at this stage in the process, we would need to put that in here. But we can say things like check for typos, ensure colors are correct, things like that. So now as this person is completing this task, they're checking off the checklist to make sure that they're accomplishing it correctly. So by implementing this strict hierarchy. The where does this go problem is solved. Suddenly now everything has a home. You can zoom out and see the health of the entire department at the space level. So if we come back out here to our marketing space that we've sort of built out, now we can see we have some recent activity happening. We have our folders and we get like a little status by workload. Obviously, again, we're in the planning stage, so we don't have this all built out. We'll begin to see the progress on different projects here. Okay, so core feature number 2, taming the views for ultimate clarity. So the next common trap is trying to use all of ClickUp's views to see your project from a higher level planning perspective, project management perspective. Many teams will pin a board view, a Gantt view, a list view, a table view, a workload view, and just get completely overwhelmed, and it just causes confusion. So the secret to views is just mastering 3. I think the 3 are list, board, and calendar. You could substitute calendar for Gantt view if your company is more driven off of one task pushing another and seeing that timeline get pushed out. Also, if you're interfacing with perhaps another company or inter-department, the Gantt view might be better. So, okay, so list view up here in our space now, we can see just under the space name, we have this little tab. This is kind of our tab structure, and we can click through this. So right now we have a list view and a board view. And then if we wanted to add a new view, we could just click this and pin a calendar view. Okay, so one thing we want to do is just put some dates in here in this stuff. So we have our tasks here, and you can see they're listed by the different folders that they're in. So this big block here is our Q4 content strategy. And then we have our website launch and a couple tasks underneath that. So if we go in and start adding some due dates, let's say the product launch is to then. We have an interview with the CEO from company XYZ coming up. He's coming in after Christmas. Okay, the homepage mockup it's got to be done by Tuesday. If we go in here, we'll assign some dates. Wireframe's got to be done by Monday. Brand assets can be done by Wednesday. And then first pass design Friday. Okay, so now that we have some dates in here, so the list view is basically where you're going to get your kind of raw data-driven outlook at the tasks, the outstanding tasks, who they're assigned to, and a brief look at where they are in their due date. If you want to add something here, there's a whole bunch of different things we can add here. So we can also add a status column into these tasks just so we can get a nice picture of have these things even been started. Now, the other way to visually do that is with our second view, which is the board view. And this is a quick picture on what's in work, what's blocked, or needs to be escalated, right? This is a quick picture of, hey, these are the things that I need to absolutely focus on. And then calendar view is basically your deadline command center. So we can see when our major tasks are coming due. And if we want, then we can just go ahead and click into those, see what's going on, and maybe leave a comment or message that person. So anything more than this, obviously, if you're the project manager or you're looking at this from a project management planning standpoint, again, I think a Gantt view could be beneficial here. But don't go crazy in this, guys. This is where so much confusion can really happen. Now, one of the really cool things about these different views that can really elevate this is the filtering. So for each project, you can create a set of custom filters where you can save views that answer your most common questions. Who's assigned to which task? What are the due dates? Which tasks are the highest priority right now? So creating a filter, we can just filter on due date is in the next 7 days. Boom, I've got it. Now, if I want to, I can save this filter. I can say save new filter and then say something like upcoming. So you can click this on or off if you want it to be able to be used by everyone in your space. And so now if we unfilter, go back to the filter, come up here to save filters, and now I have my upcoming task filter. I just click that, and now I can see everything due in the next 7 days. So that is something that is going to be really powerful for you to play with and master. It will help if you've got a huge list of tasks. You don't have to sort through them. You quickly filter them out, get to where you need to go, and get your work done. So the final piece of the puzzle is getting rid of the soul-crushing admin work that just eats up your team's time. Manually changing a task's status, reminding someone that a deadline is approaching, having to manually assign a task to the next person in line. These are the things that we can automate very easily. This isn't just manual work that's tedious, it's opportunity to make mistakes and to let tasks and things fall through the cracks. The automation inside of ClickUp is beautifully simple. It's a when this happens, then do that engine. Here are the most 3 powerful automations to set up immediately. So the first one is going to be our status change to assignee. So when you're inside of a space, and here you can see I'm back inside the Q4 content strategy folder, you're going to hit this little lightning bolt up here and we'll hit create automation. And then now you can see the if this, do that. So you have a trigger and then you have an action, and you can obviously kind of go wild with these. Now, if you want to, you can use some of the pre-built ones that are on the side here. That's pretty easy. We're going to go ahead and build one from scratch. So we're going to apply this to tasks or subtasks, and we'll say when the status changes from in work to blocked, we want to go ahead and reassign, change assignees to me, the boss. Just kidding. So then it's giving you a little warning here. If the assignee doesn't have access to the task, the action will be skipped. So you just need to make sure that that person you're assigning it to is in your team and it's included within that folder, that space, okay? It's just as easy as that. Create it, and then we can toggle it on and off if and when we want it to run. Okay, the second one is due date approaching. So all we have to do to add another one is say add action. We'll come back up here. So the trigger date is before or after. If we say it's a day before the due date and, right, because we don't want to send it if it's done, right, is not any of closed. Okay, so if it's not complete and it's a day before the due date, our action is going to be communication. Now this is where you can choose, right, what form of communication that you feel like is most timely for your team. So I would probably say a direct message, and then we can say, hey, this task is coming due tomorrow, prioritize, or update the due date. And we can add a little message there. And then in this case, we would select all the users of that group to make sure that they're all getting notifications for their tasks. So down here, it kind of gives you a little summary of what's happening. When the date is and this condition is true, then we're going to send a direct message. All right, let's build one more. Okay, so for this one, we're going to have to first build a little template inside of a task. Okay, so basically what this one is when a task gets created, we want a template for how that task is carried out. Okay, so think of this as like if someone's creating a bug report task. Okay, well, let's have all the things that we want to have listed in that bug report, or we can put in something like for this content strategy, maybe we're recording a YouTube video or something, and we want to put in our template of how we record videos, how we write the script, and how we set up for the shot and do all that stuff. So if we do that for our video here, okay, so what we can do is basically what we're going to do is build out this particular task, how we want all of those tasks to look. So things like the type of status. Okay, so here we can add some unique statuses rather than just the basic to do, in work, block, or completed. So if we wanted another one, instead of to do, we could just say ready to record. For active, we could say recording. We could have another one for editing. For the done, how about peer review? And then complete. So now we can say save as template. This is just for the statuses. This is video statuses. So now we've created a video status template, if you will. Okay, so we can say apply the changes. Now it's asking, do we want to apply those different statuses to all the tasks in our folder? In this case, we do not. Okay, so now we have our statuses set up. So some of our custom fields would be like a checklist. So maybe we want to make sure that everyone is following the same checklist when they go through their video recording steps. So this would be like, okay, so here's a basic little checklist for things that we want whoever's going to go and do this video to make sure that they understand. Again, we could add a attachment if we wanted to reference a document to have in this template. So once we're happy with the way that the task looks, we can come up here to the settings, come down to templates, and then we're going to save this as a template. And then we'll just call this video recording, and we'll just share it with all the members. We can change that to who we want to be able to see this, and then we'll hit save template. Okay, so now that we have a template, we're gonna close that. We're gonna come back to our automations, create an automation, and then when a task or subtask is created, the action is apply a template. And then our workspace templates is right here, the video recording one that we just used. And we'll go ahead and say use that. Now we have it. So now anytime we come in here and we add a task, and let's say video for, maybe we're going to do a product review. Okay, so now we created that task. Now let's come in here and see if it did this for us. So we have all of our correct statusing, and we can come down here and see we already have our checklist. You know, you build these things up front, but as you start doing it, I mean, that's done. The time that we spent is we don't have to do it anymore. It's already there, it's already built in, and you're up and running. So by automating these simple steps, you're basically implementing these standard operating procedures right into your work. It reduces human error, it reduces the need for nagging your employees or your team, and it really frees up your ability to focus on the things that really matter. So by focusing on these 3 things, guys, I hope you learned something. I hope that you can take something away and apply it to your ClickUp workspace. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you like this, if you want to see something more, there is a ton to ClickUp. The way to conquer it is to simplify it. So thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next one.